When it comes to gas guns, we tend to like them loud, tough, to kick as hard as they can, and to actually do as advertised. But for some unfortunate players and collectors, they can only dream and wait for their favorite rifles to make their debut in the airsoft world, while others with sharp minds and useful hands do whatever they can to build their dream gun from scratch. Today we'll be taking a look at just 5 of the many different guns we can't buy or haven't been made yet. It's time for another USAirsoft original. This is the top 5 guns we wish were gas blowback. Alright, so let's start the countdown with number 5, which WE actually made, but after its teaser video was released 4 years ago, it seemed to disappear completely. This is the P90. Now, just about everyone has seen the P90, either in movies, video games, or in real life. I wouldn't say it's exactly my favorite system, however I can understand why it's such a hot seller. It's compact, which makes an obvious contender for CQB games, and it's a very famous weapon. Once upon a time, however, this gun actually appeared as a working prototype by WE, but then after, it vanished. I've heard of a lot of reasons why it did, but the most popular it seems is that the magazines wouldn't have worked properly, as it faces downward on the gun. The gas would rise and give the system many different problems, but this doesn't sound like a very excusable reason to drop the project altogether, since Tokyo Marui has shown you can just add an insertable tank into the shotgun. However, a lawsuit by F. N. Hurstel, the maker of the real firearm, could also be the reason. But WE does show sometimes that they don't really care for lawsuits, as you can still buy their G-Series pistols. Is WE still planning on releasing the P90? I don't know, but the looks of things right now don't really show that happening, so we might just have to wait for someone else to release it. The next on the list has been made in AEG formed by Tokyo Marui, Classic Army, and can easily be found in present time by JG. However, this battle rifle received a lot of comments to go gas. This is the G3. The G3 holds a lot of history in its look as a classic battle rifle, and it also holds a spot on my blacklist as I prefer weapons with iconic looks. The G3 has the capability of being a heavy recoil gun like the GHK and KWA AKs, and its large magazine gas storage should be a big positive. If produced, different variants or replacement parts should also be made, as many want the original look or could even go with a more tactical look. Some may want to go with the wood stock and wood handguard, or some may want to go with the IRS system and a retractable stock. Altogether, this rifle can be a DMR platform or bring an older combat style into play, which is the way I tend to play as I like older styled rifles. Jesse from Gorilla Airsoft Radio also had something to say himself, as he's very interested in this future possibility. He told me, I would want a gas blowback G3 because I can't afford a real one. Also, when I first got into Airsoft years ago, that was a gun I really wanted, but I ultimately went with something more practical. I would want the manufacturer to be KWA for the NS2 system. Like stated before, with a large magazine should come a large gas fill, and the NS2 system should finalize that. However, when voting for this countdown, the poll was divided 50-50 between KWA and GHK making this rifle. I haven't been able to even get my hands on a GHK product, but if it's anything like the KWA gas rifles when it comes to gas consumption, then I wouldn't mind either coming forward with their own, as long as it's well built and reasonably priced at around the same rate as their other gas rifles. Number 3 is something I didn't know myself had a lot of popularity as I once thought, but as it is my favorite rifle, this should be very easy to go over and point out why I would like to see this come to reality one day, as my opinions were shared well with the voting pool. This is the Galil. The Galil has always been an oddity to me, as I don't know what exactly I like about it. When others compliment my rifle, it's normally over its look, but I may have permanently handicapped myself as I'm so used to my Galil that other rifles are so awkward to me. Aside from my personal experiences, the Galil has been produced by King Arms, Cybergun, and most notably ICS. When broken down into its basic form, the Galil is just an AK with some changes here and there. When I previously reviewed the KWA KCR, I made it very apparent that the KCR was very similar to the Galil, and I questioned why KWA simply didn't make the Galil. When I did ask a KWA representative months ago that question, I was told it was simply not popular enough. I also can understand if licensing may or could have been an issue. If made, however, manufacturers should include the ambidextrous selector and an actual scope mount slot, as no Galil on the market features this. And if the first batch brings in a respectable income, then they can advance the line and cover more Galil variants. This is another gun that KWA and GHK can most likely use to rock the scene, but maybe they can configure the magazine well to accept normal AK magazines so owners of older magazines can save money. And this is where the bullpups return into the countdown, and with number 2, we'll check out the original. This is the AUG. The AUG just might be the most iconic bullpup out there, but in Airsoft it's also the lesser seen one. In my opinion, this is the bullpup I would want, and I'm looking into getting one myself to try out new things. But besides that, with the rise of bullpup gas blowbacks like the Hephaestus Tavor, others are quickly bumped up higher on the list of wants, so naturally the AUG has made its appearance here. If made, the AUG can be another loud heavy kicker, but that also means it needs to be made strong internally so it doesn't destroy itself within a few months. It should also retain the barrel swapping action like the AEGs, and from a businessman's perspective, this can also be a good way to make more money from an existing product. The way I see it, with swappable receivers, strong internals, and possibly larger magazines for the H-bar variant, the AEG could do very well in the market. But with that statement, it should be very apparent that this needs to be done right if made at all, with the highest of standards and not half-assed. Before I reveal the most voted gun that should go gas blowback, let's check out 4 guns real quick that almost made the countdown. The FN FAL, the AN 94, the SIG MPX, and finally the AS VAL. If any of these close contenders should have replaced something on this countdown, then let us know in the comments below, or feel content with the number 1 gun that was voted the one that should become gas blowback. This is the F2000. Well, this is it, and this was not exactly what I was expecting to be so popular. The F2000, although a larger bullpup, is actually a fun platform if you can get used to it. However, would it get a whole lot better if it became a gas gun? I think the F2000 is on here due to its fame from video games and movies. I honestly don't know what to say about this, but if the gas version can retain the G&G AEG version's exterior quality with high strength internals, then it may do well on the market, but I do see it becoming very expensive. I've heard the risk of making a new gun for the airsoft market is that it wouldn't make any profit, and you gotta keep in mind that it may cost over $100,000 to simply put together a prototype gun. But besides all this is what was voted to take the number 1 spot, and if this is something you agree on, then you can tell me why you think this is in the comments below, because maybe you can give me a reason that's better than what I can say here. But I hope you enjoyed this countdown project, and if you did, go ahead and spank that like button past 100 and leave a supportive comment, or pretend you're an internet genius and tell me how stupid the Gas Gun Association was for voting these guns onto the countdown. But until the next video drops, I'll be sure to see you all next time.